DC.
Ain't nobody gon' say nothing about me. About me. Ain't nobody gon' say nothing about me. A hater can't ever say nothing around. Ain't nobody gon' say nothing about me.
What's going on, Reapers? It's Devontae. Welcome to Reaper Training. And today we're getting into the training series and we're talking about splits. So what is a split as far as working out goes? So a lot of people in the fitness industry, they do their workouts on a weekly basis based on 3 muscle groupings. And that is your chest and tris, back and bis, and your legs, right? And so what is the reason for this? So first things first, you have to get into compound exercises, right? So what a compound exercise is when you're incorporating multiple muscle groups at the same time in order to grow more muscle, right? So on a chest and tricep day, a big workout in that is the bench press. The bench press, you're incorporating your triceps, you're incorporating your chest, you're incorporating some core, a little bit of shoulders. You're hitting about 4 to 5 different muscle groupings depending on how you're doing them and which ones you're doing, right? And the reason why this is important is because on a push day, which is also a chest and tricep day, the main purpose of what you're trying to do is you're trying to tear apart those muscle groups as much as possible so that you can rebuild. Now, normally what some people do, right, say you need to hit in order to grow, you need to hit your muscle groupings at least twice a week, right? So I may hit chest on Monday, and then after 2 days pass, I'll hit it again on Thursday, right? A lot of that has to do with protein synthesis, and we'll get into that in another video. But you're constantly putting those muscle groupings under the rest and separately, and you're isolating them so that you can really focus on them. So if I'm trying to get my chest bigger, if I'm trying to get my triceps bigger, if I'm trying to get my shoulders bigger, me hitting them twice and hitting them specifically, that way I can focus on them more on those days instead of on Monday I'm hitting a little bit of chest and a little bit of back and a little bit of legs. You know, you're kind of condensing everything together so that way you can focus on them a lot more, right? So with these splits, you have that push day and your pull day and your leg day so that you can really focus on these specific muscle groupings, right? So for me, I have kind of small calves. I may focus on my calves on leg day a little bit more, so that way I can try to improve those. A lot of times I like to focus on shoulders. I also like to focus on biceps and things like that on these specific days. So that's the whole point of these splits, is more so to focus on these exercises. And with these compound movements, not only are you improving on these muscle groupings that you're trying to get to, with these compound exercises, you're also building more muscle because you're hitting more groups. And what happens is, the more muscle you build, the more calories it takes for your body to maintain that muscle. So if I start building up my chest, I'm hitting my chest twice a week, it's growing pretty well, I'm building more muscle in that area along my triceps, I can start to eat a little bit more, and I may be able to change around my diet because I'm building more muscle, right? And that helps out. No one wants to be, well, I'll say a lot of people don't really want to be just very, very strong, but like overweight. A lot of people like to be lean. They want to have a good amount of muscle tone to them, a more athletic build, and that's what you're shooting for when you're doing these compound movements. Now, the best way to attain these goals is it's kind of a debate between whether you need to lift heavy or do more reps. That's another video for another time, but this is more so just giving you an idea of compound movements and how they work together with these splits. So again, you have compounds for chest, compounds for back. Squats and deadlifts when it comes to leg day are probably the ultimate compound exercises, just because you're hitting probably more muscle groups than any other compound exercise you might do. Because what's happening is with a squat, your back is involved, your legs are involved, your core is involved, your upper body is involved. Just basically your whole body is under an intense workout, right? And that's why a lot of times you may be working out and you may get a little dizzy in between your workouts and things like that. It's a very, very intense workout. It's a very useful workout, so you can build a lot of muscle. That's also why it's one of the more dangerous ones, because there's so many different muscle groupings under the rest at the same time. So hopefully this gave you an idea of what a 3-day split is, what splitting your workouts into focusing on specific groups, why that's important, why that may be very useful for what you're trying to do. In the later videos, we'll definitely get into high reps versus low reps, the different variations of ways that people like to go at doing these splits, whether it's HIIT training, whether it's 4-day splits. There's a lot of different ways that a lot of different methods that we've come up with in the fitness industry as far as building muscle and losing weight, and I'm excited to get into it. Appreciate y'all time, and just remember, we don't chase dreams, we hunt goals. Reaper Training.